Okay, in this video we're going to do a couple of long division problems where we have to write our answer in a specific form, but the steps are the same. And in these problems in this video, they're going to be slightly more complicated than the first video. But as I said, all the steps are the same. We're looking for the quotient and the remainder. Okay, so in this one, we're dividing 8x to the fourth minus 12x to the third plus 5x squared plus 20x minus 4 by x squared minus 2x plus 2. So let's set it up the way that we did before. So x squared minus 2x plus 2 divided into 8x to the fourth minus 12x to the third plus 5x squared plus 20x minus 4. Okay, so we look at the leading terms. 8x to the fourth divided by x squared. And what do I have to multiply x squared by to get 8x to the fourth? Well, I have to multiply it by 8 and x squared. So it's 8x squared, and I write it up above the 5x squared because we want to be consistent with the textbook. And then we have to do the multiplication. So 8x squared times x squared, it is 8x to the fourth. Then 8x squared times negative 2x is negative 16x to the third. And then 8x squared times positive 2 is positive 16x squared. And we're going to subtract. So I add a couple of placeholders, 0x plus 0, put parentheses around the whole thing and a minus sign in front because we're subtracting. We're subtracting a polynomial from another polynomial, and we do it term by term. So the first term's 8x to the fourth minus 8x to the fourth. That's just 0x to the fourth, but this time I'm not going to write that because I don't need that placeholder. The second terms, I have negative 12x to the third minus negative 16x to the third. So just looking at the coefficients, I have negative 12 minus negative 16. So minus a negative means adding a positive. So it's really negative 12 plus 16. And that gives me a positive 4. So that's going to be a positive 4x to the third. So be careful with your subtraction and your minus signs. The next term, I have 5x squared minus 16x squared. So the coefficient 5 minus the coefficient 16. 5 minus 16 is negative 11. So it's negative 11x squared. And then the last two, 20x minus 0x is just 20x, and negative 4 minus 0 is negative 4. Okay, so let's do it again. Looking at the leading terms, 4x to the third divided by x squared, it's going to be a positive 4x. So let me get rid of those arrows. So now I'm going to multiply 4x times x squared is 4x to the third. 4x times negative 2x is negative 8x squared. And then 4x times positive 2 is positive 8x. And now I'm going to subtract. I added a 0 at the end, put parentheses around it, and a minus sign in front. And now I'm going to do it term by term. So 4x to the third minus 4x to the third is nothing. Look at the second term, negative 11x squared minus negative 8x squared. So negative 11 minus negative 8 is negative 11 plus 8, and that's a negative 3. So it's negative 3x squared. The third term is 20x minus 8x, so that's a positive 12x. And the last one is negative 4 minus 0, which is just negative 4. Okay, so once again, look at the leading terms. Negative 3x squared divided by x squared. Okay, so negative 3 divided by positive 1 is negative 3. So the quotient there is negative 3. So now we're going to do the multiplication. Negative 3 times x squared is negative 3x squared. Negative 3 times negative 2x is positive 6x. Negative 3 times positive 2 is negative 6. Put parentheses around it and subtract term by term. Negative 3x squared minus negative 3x squared is nothing. Positive 12x minus 6x is positive 6x. And then negative 4 minus negative 6 is negative 4 plus 6, which is positive 2. And so now we look at the leading terms, 6x and x squared, and we can't do any more division. So we're done. So we have a quotient, 8x squared plus 4x minus 3, and we have a remainder, 6x plus 2. And so now we're asked to write our answer in a specific form. So up above, I'm going to write my answer. It's the quotient 8x squared plus 4x minus 3 plus my remainder, 6x plus 2, over the divisor, x squared minus 2x plus 2. Okay, so that one wasn't all that complicated. We had a few minus signs we had to keep track of, but we were really, really careful. So we're going to do another example where things get a little tricky. So in this example, I'm doing 6x minus 9 minus 19x squared plus 15x to the fourth divided by negative 3x squared minus 3x plus 2. So you might notice that the dividend is out of order. So we need to have the dividend, well, we need to have both of our polynomials written in descending degree. So this one, the highest degree is x to the fourth, the highest degree is 4, but that's not the leading term. So we have to, when we do the division, we have to reorder everything. We want descending degree. So I'm going to write it as 15x to the fourth plus 0x to the third minus 19x squared plus 6x minus 9 divided by negative 3x squared minus 3x plus 2. Now you might go, well, wait a minute, where'd that 0x to the third come from? Well, another weird thing about that dividend was there was an x to the fourth, an x squared, an x, and a constant term, but there was no x to the third term. And that's going to mess us up when we start doing the division. So when you see that, when you're skipping a term, you really do want to insert a placeholder. It's really, really necessary. It's going to help you. Otherwise, you're going to get confused and not know what to subtract from what. So always have a placeholder if there's no term of a certain degree. Okay. So I'm going to pause because my cats are trying to get out. So we're going to look at the leading terms again, and I'm not going to write as many arrows in this example because that gets kind of messy. So 15x to the fourth divided by negative 3x squared. So another weird thing about this problem is we've got more minus signs to worry about. So positive 15 divided by negative 3 is negative 5. Remember, positive divided by negative is negative. And then x to the fourth divided by x squared is x squared. So this quotient is going to be negative 5x squared. Now I do the multiplication. Negative 5x squared times negative 3x squared is positive 15x to the fourth. Negative 5x squared times negative 3x is positive 15x to the third. Negative 5x squared times positive 2 is negative 10x squared. Okay, so now we're going to subtract. So I'm adding a couple of placeholders just to keep track of things. 15x to the fourth minus 15x to the fourth is nothing. Now here's where this placeholder comes in handy. 0x to the third minus 15x to the third. That's going to be a negative 15x to the third. If we didn't have that placeholder there, we wouldn't know what to do. We wouldn't have anything to subtract from. So that placeholder really came in handy. The next term is negative 19x squared minus negative 10x squared. So negative 19 minus negative 10 is really negative 19 plus 10. So that's negative 9x squared. Then 6x minus 0x is just 6x. And negative 9 minus 0 is negative 9. Okay, and now we start again. Looking at the leading term, negative 15x to the third divided by negative 3x squared. So now we have a negative divided by a negative. So that quotient will be positive. It's going to be positive 5x. So I write positive 5x up there. Then I do the multiplication. Positive 5x times negative 3x squared. That one is negative 15. Negative 15x to the third. And then positive 5x times negative 3x is negative 15x squared. And then positive 5x times positive 2 is positive 10x. And then I add a placeholder, put parentheses and a minus sign, and I subtract term by term. So the first term is always 0. So negative 15x to the third minus negative 15x to the third, there's nothing there. So negative 9x squared minus negative 15x squared. So I'm taking negative 9 and subtracting a negative 15. Well, that's just negative 9 plus 15, so that's a positive 6. Positive 6x squared. The next term, I've got 6x minus 10x, so that's negative 4x. And the last one is negative 9 minus 0, which is negative 9. So now we do it again. Looking at the leading term, 6x squared divided by negative 3x squared. So 6 divided by negative 3, positive divided by negative, is going to be a negative 2. And x squared divided by x squared is just 1. So the quotient there is negative 2. I wrote the negative 2 up above. And now I do the multiplication. Negative 2 times negative 3x squared is positive 6x squared. Then negative 2 times negative 3x is positive 6x. And then negative 2 times positive 2 is negative 4. Then I do subtraction. So I use parentheses and a minus sign and subtract term by term. 6x squared minus 6x squared is nothing. Negative 4x minus 6x is negative 10x. Negative 4 minus 6 is negative 10. And then the last term, negative 9 minus negative 4 is just negative 9 plus 4, so that's negative 5. And now we look at the leading terms. Negative 10x and negative 3x squared. Well, we can't do that division. Negative 10x can't be divided by negative 3x squared because the degree of negative 3x squared is 2. That's higher than the degree of negative 10x. So we're done. So now the quotient is negative 5x squared plus 5x minus 2. And the remainder is negative 10x minus 5. So we're going to write our answer in that special form, negative 5x squared plus 5x minus 2 plus our remainder, negative 10x minus 5 over negative 3x squared minus 3x plus 2. And that's our answer.